In this video, we're going to take the time to show how we can set up and work with forms authentication on our server. What this will do for us is give us our web system where we can actually build our own login page. So we can dress it up and make it look fancy, make it look just like the rest of our site, and we don't have to worry about the user just getting a pop-up window that looks so generic. So the user will just get a seamless experience thinking they've logged in against our system when really they're actually logging in against the server itself. So what we'll need in order to demonstrate this project and work with this project is the resource World Manager Forms Authentication.war. So make sure you get that resource. Go ahead and load it up into Eclipse so you can see it. Just like the other one on the basic authentication, when we work against the server, we'll need to actually deploy this to the container to see it outside of Eclipse. So we'll do that towards the end. But it's good to bring it in and look at the code itself. So as we build this code, you'll see that everything is pretty much the same with a few exceptions. We're going to change a little bit in the web XML file, and we're going to add a couple pages, login error and login server, that we can use to build out the forms authentication. So everything will still be the same in our web XML file, with our security constraint still loaded with a resource name, whatever we want it to be. And then we have our protected pattern, which is going to make sure that everybody that tries to log into any pages under the protected directory will have to authenticate. And then we have the get and post method we're protecting specifically. Two roles, admin and authorized user, just like before with the roles redefined here. And then the difference is coming in the login config section. So before we had basic login configuration in the authorization method. Now we're going to switch that to form. And by saying form, we're telling the server we're going to create our own form. We're still going to log in against you. And so the server says, in order for that to work, I need a couple pages defined, including what page you're going to use to log in and what page you'd like me to redirect the user to if there's an authorization error. And so we define those right here in the config as well. And so that's the loginserver.jsp and loginerror.jsp. So we'll look at login server here and we'll see that it's pretty much the same as every login form that we've built so far. There's just a few small changes in what we're going to actually do in order to make this work against the server. So what we'll see is that everything looks the same until we get to the form, where we're actually going to have our ID be login just like before and our method be post. But we'll note the action has changed. Here we have the action is equal to J security check. Now what that means is that it's telling the server, when we post this, go ahead and use the internal mechanism to do security with the built-in container security authorization. And so by doing that, we also then have to give that security check two parameters, just like we would pass to our own page for the username and password. And those are predefined with names of J username and J password. So all we have to do in order to change our original form is the action that we post to and the two names of our parameters for username and password. And we just make sure that those line up with what the server is expecting for authorization. And we have a login error page, which simply says access is denied. So there's a nice little friendly message that you didn't log in correctly. In order to get this to work and actually show it in action, we need to go ahead and deploy it out to our web container. So just like before, we'll have our web apps directory where our websites will actually run. And then we need our resource. So here is our resource again. And let's go ahead and just drag the WAR file over here as a copy. And once we do that, of course, give it permission. And then we'll start up our service or our Tomcat. And we'll see the World Manager Forms Authentication actually builds out just like usual. And we see our login server page, our protected area. So it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and try to access it. So here we're going to do some forms authentication. What we can see is our site is awesome. And we'll go ahead and hit the home page there. And then let's go ahead and hit login. This is still our login from before. So nothing here matters. So we've logged into the World Manager system, but we still aren't logged into the server. Now what we see is another login when we try to view cities or view countries. And here what we need to use is our server credentials, which is admin and admin99. We go ahead and sign in, and there we see our user credentials have given us permission to see the actual cities and countries. Once again, we sign out of our website, but we can still sign back in using our forms authentication. So we had the other one, which was user12 and password. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we can see that that person can also still log in here. And everything's good.